A roadie with bands. Yes, that's right. More music on Mostly Superheroes. Touring with bands for about 10 years. We got somebody in the studio today that has worked with musicians, and it's a road that leads not where you think. You know, this is what I call a renaissance man. He's all over the place. He does a lot of different things. Worked with bands such as King of the Hill, which I heard in a podcast that you were on, which I'll reference some of these. It has a connection to Dr. Zhivegas locally, yes. I believe. Yeah. Frank from Dr. Zhivegas.
Yes.
You worked with them in the early 90s. Shortly after, toured with a number of bands from around the world, including Kenny Loggins, Roxette, which you might recognize, She's Got the Look. You all know that one. Tony Bennett, Lou Rawls, St. Louis guy.
You'll never find.
Wrapped up touring with a not-so-little band called Little River Band for over 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
2000,
that's right.
You're starting at the Pageant.
Yeah.
And what are you doing at the Pageant? This is when you're working sound. You're working the booth.
I am the house sound engineer at the Pageant.
Unbelievable. Yes. Our favorite venue. Can't wait to talk way more about that.
Oh boy.
You have a beer with our friends over at Four Hands with the Full Life Cycle Lager. It's a great beer. We'll talk more about that. And in just a couple weeks, the countdown is on for you for sure. February 10th and 11th at the MOTO Museum. You're hosting the 9th annual, I believe.
This is the 9th Cycle Showcase in 11 years. We had a couple years we took a break there.
Cycle Showcase St. Louis. This is for lovers of art. You have a love for art. You went to college for art. You started building motorcycles. You became a member of the Antique Motorcycle Club. You love going to shows and experience shows, so you decided to create one all of your own, and this year is really special because you locked down a venue that you've been working on for a long time. You're going to be doing a takeover at the MOTO Museum.
Yes, sir.
Pumped about that.
So excited.
Heard a lot of great things from some mutual friends of ours about the MOTO Museum. Our buddy Ben, shout out Ben, who made it clear at our last Mostly Superheroes happy hour, he is a motorcycle guy.
Yes.
So maybe we'll feature some fan mail from him. We have, for the meet today, we're going to talk all about the Cycle Showcase STL. Again, February 10th and 11th. We're counting it down. We'll be shouting out that date the whole episode. Randy has been on the Overtime with Oliver podcast, the Shop Talk podcast, Cycle Source, the Daily Mix, and so many more publications over the years. Fans from around the world, welcome to Mostly Superheroes Studio, Mr. Randy Noldge.
Hey. What a build-up.
Yeah. Intro.
My goodness.
That's you, man.
Wow.
That's all you. And that was just what that's one big day of research, but man, you got a lot going on. Randy, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks
for taking the time to come join us here on a weeknight to talk about motorcycles, art, beer, so much more. You are a fun guy. I have heard all those podcasts I shouted out. I've heard you. I've spent a lot of time with you in my ears. Okay. You seem like a fun guy, a cool guy. Julie Lally, shout out for sending you our way. You're on the countdown mode.
Yeah. We're in crunch time now.
Like what today's date is January 24th. So like just a couple weeks and the big weekend is here.
Yes,
and
it is.
We're going to come all the way back around, but you have a few things that you have done, and I think we're sending a couple people to your showcase.
I hope so.
Yes, we have two winners, and this is how we like to open up our show every time, is a segment called Fan Mail.
Fan Mail.
So, I want to tie in Randy being here to Fan Mail. Yeah, we're giving away tickets to the Cycle Showcase. Congratulations to Jen and David.
Yeah.
They are motorcycle riders. Oh my God. Wait a minute. I don't have that many winners. You got your stack of tickets. All right, I just need two. And, I mean, hey, if you got them, our buddy Ben, he asked me, he goes, listen, I know this is weird, but I'll ask for a ticket. I said, I'm not going to ask for a ticket unless he has a stack of tickets.
Not a problem. I have a stack of tickets.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice. And all right, Jen, David, they're friends of the show. They're excited to come see you. They're going to give us a full review too, so we'll share that on the podcast as well.
I'd like to hear that.
We give away vinyls on this podcast, so I want to remind our listeners and followers that we have a contest on our website at mostlysuperheroes.com/contest. You can enter to win a vinyl by the band Weezer called Blue. This is from you, Scotty Scoop.
Yeah.
This is tell us about why you like this album.
A personal favorite. I remember buying it when it first came out, and unfortunately, it is now at its 30-year anniversary, and I am really old. But it's what I would say one of my favorite albums.
This is something we're doing new this year too. Is if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, we can bring in music from Spotify into the podcast episode. What's the top song from that album?
Oh, everybody knows the Sweater Song.
Is that what it's
for sure?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Sweater Song.
The Sweater Song is the number one song.
Undone. The Sweater Song. Everybody knows Buddy Holly.
Yes.
You know, it's just full of classics, man.
Very nice. If you're listening on Spotify, you're going to hear that right now. If you're not, don't worry about it. It's linked up in the podcast episode. Randy, let's use fan mail as an opportunity to get you to know you a little bit.
Sure.
You're here in St. Louis.
Yes.
You're not far from me in terms of neighborhood if you're listening locally. And how long have you been in St. Louis? Are you a lifer or did you transplant?
I grew up here until I was 12, and then my mother's occupation took us to Iowa, small farming town. So I went from a big city to a little small farming town in Iowa, and didn't fit in it at all.
I can see that.
I was quite the outcast. As soon as I graduated high school, I ran back to St. Louis and moved in with my uncle down here and started college for art. I was pursuing art. I thought that was what I was going to do, and I met some friends that I knew in sixth grade when I left, and I said, "Hey, I'm back in town. What's going on?" He's like, "I play in a band." I said, "Really?" I said, "I always loved that. I'd like to do sound for band." He goes, "Well, you want to do sound for us?" And long story short, I quit college 3 months later and was doing sound around town for bands. At the time, there were no DJs. There were no jukeboxes, electronic jukeboxes, or anything like that. And every bar had a band, and every band had to carry PA, and every band had to carry lighting, and it had to be set up and tore down. And a bunch of 18-year-old kids were playing in bands 4 or 5 nights a week. They're playing in bars 4 or 5 nights a week. That was the culture back in the mid 80s around here in St. Louis. So what was a fantasy turned into a job. I was making $40 a night, and I thought I was in high heaven in 85. And it was the fall of 85, and I think I dropped out of college because I wasn't into it. I wasn't really into school, but I loved art. And I guess the roadie path grabbed hold of my guts and took me a different direction. I still dabble in art a little bit, but I still have a deep appreciation for it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've made my living since 85 now, twisting knobs and pushing faders and loading trucks and things like that, rolling thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe 1 million miles of cable. Yeah, that's been my bread and butter since 85.
Unbelievable. And the best industry to work in. And from my perspective, just being in the heart of music, like you've mentioned, there's a lot of different parts of that gig, but you were part of it. And I mean, obviously played a part in your experience to everything that probably goes into the Cycle Showcase. Yeah.
I certainly bring a lot of my knowledge and my experience from live concert production to the show. And that was planned from the get-go. This is not like a Hooters parking lot. When I say bike show, this is something I think is pretty special, and the bike builders and bike collectors and people that participate have echoed those sentiments.
Very nice. And you're going to hear more about that. It's the meet today, the feature. We're going to get into it. And with that, we'll keep it moving to the next segment that we call News and Rumors.
News and Rumors.
Yeah, what's going on with Randy is really all I care about. I want to know about this beer. How did you, Four Hands, give it up for Four Hands. And
Yes.
You've got a collaboration with their Full Life beer. And we're all drinking it right now. I'm drinking Voltron Volume 3. I got my Killer Napkins Four-Hand shirt on. You guys got Citywide Pills. How did Full Life and your cycle lager come to fruition?
Four Hands has been a sponsor since the very first Cycle Showcase in 2011. They came on board. They were a fledgling brewery at the time, and I was a fledgling show and we just happened to know one another, myself and some people that were at the ground floor of Four Hands over there. We knew each other, so I said, "Hey, I work at the Pageant. Maybe we'll get the Four Hands in there, and and we'll carry the beer for the weekend while I do Cycle Showcase. By the way, that was the first location of Cycle Showcase in 2011 was at Cycles, or is that at the pageant? I'm sorry.
Nice. It was at the pageant for the first time.
And I just remembered this is the 11th anniversary. It was 2013. So
very cool.
2013. Yes, that was it. All right. I don't have my notes here in front of me.
No, it's okay. 2013. Here we are, 2024. I mean, obviously, you've been keeping it going, but you guys at Four Hands connected and made it happen.
Four Hands connected and actually brought them in for the first Cycle Showcase in 2013, and they never left. And I think in 2019, the pageant was the largest seller of Four Hands in the country. So,
oh my gosh,
nice,
very cool.
I don't want to say that. Yeah, I'll pat myself in the back for that. Oh yeah, I made that connection. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, well, you might as well give yourself a credit where it's due.
Yeah. And they've for year after year they've supported the show, and they believe in what I'm doing, which is remarkable to have a local company grow like that and to grow with us. So
yeah, they were getting their start in 2012, opening the first location at LaSalle Park. And you mentioned, I mean, this is like breaking news. I feel like you said you were comfortable talking about. You just had a meeting with Four Hands. You guys got something fun coming up.
Yeah, they're actually doing a can for Cycle Showcase.
Oh, nice. Oh,
yeah.
well, we'll give it up for that.
Yeah,
grab one of those.
It's National Beer Can Day today.
Is it really?
On the 20th, yes, and Four
Get
Hands
out
is
of
sharing on their socials right now. I've shared a couple of them. All of their legendary cans and labels.
Right.
So you're part of that.
Well, that's amazing. I don't think that they're posting it yet. We're going to do a can reveal party on the night before Cycle Showcase on February 9th at
nice.
Delmar Hall in the Loop. Yeah, they came out and they said we're going to do a can for you, and we believe in what you're doing. That's a remarkable feeling.
Talk about that. You said on February 9th there's a release party.
Yes,
this is the warm up to your event.
This is so. A lot of the builders and the people participating in the show come from out of town, and that's the thing. What are we doing on Friday night? We load in Friday. We set the show up on Friday, and what do we do on Friday night? So I kind of searched around, and it seems like Delmar Hall didn't have a show that night, and talked to the ownership there and said, yeah, we'll have a little party. So
wow.
We're going to have a little one-man band. We're going to unveil the can. We're going to have all the builders there. We'll have a couple bikes there just to set the tone, set the mood. But it's free to the public. Come on down, see the new can, meet some builders, meet some of the builders. It's going to be a great night.
I am really glad we met because you're hanging out at all the coolest spots in town. So, like every place we're naming with Four Hands, Delmar, the Pageant, these are the hits right here. All right, so let's go to our next segment. Keep it moving. We started in TV and film. We'll always pay homage to TV and film and stories. We call it What You Sharing, but I haven't updated this segment yet.
What you watching?
So it's still What You Watching, which, again, not as inclusive as I'd like it to be. I heard on some of the podcasts that you were on, Randy, that you quoted some movies that I think one you said was a joke. Like when we talk motorcycles, Easy Rider,
of course,
comes up. Wild Hogs.
Yes.
You said those were a couple of jokes. But you mentioned, like, more seriously, The Fastest Indian, 2005.
World's Fastest Indian.
With Anthony Hopkins.
With Anthony Hopkins. It's a fantastic movie. Yes.
And then the original Mad Max.
Of course.
And you had a bike from Mad Max, I think, at a show.
I did. 2022 it was. I had the cop bike from Mad Max. So,
wow.
And now we got
cool.
Mad Max is still very relevant. Furiosa is coming out. They're still making stuff. Those are so fun.
You remember the guy in Mad Max, the crazy guy that playing the flaming guitar?
Yes.
That scene is Mad Max, the latest.
Fury Road.
Fury Road, yeah. On the front of the big rig.
Just shredding.
Yeah, there's a guy up on the East Coast that made that guitar, and he's called the Reanimator, I think is his title on Instagram or something like that. I follow him, and I keep trying to get that guy to showcase and bring some of his art down here. One day we're going to do that.
Ooh, I'm good at that kind of stuff. Let me help. Like,
right.
I'll follow him.
Right.
We'll DM him until he can't ignore us anymore.
It might be a little late this year, but 2025, we're going to work on him.
That's great.
He's doing some crazy motorcycle related art stuff, so it fits right in.
Very
Love
cool.
his stuff. He's got great stuff.
Very cool. Well, me and Randy are hogging up the mics. Let's let Mr. Giggler talk. What you got for what you watching this week? You got something?
All right, I'm going to do some quick hits because I've been at Alamo Draft House using my monthly pass a lot lately.
Plugging that.
So
nice.
Yes, it's a great investment.
What do you get for that?
Unlimited movies for, I think it's 20 or 30 a month. I think it recently went up to 30, but I'm locked in at 20 for.
That's how you know Andy's doing well. It's 20 or 30 a month.
Yeah, he doesn't even
No,
know.
it's 30 if you sign up now. I'm pretty sure. So
What have you been seeing?
I saw Wonka last month. That was amazing. Honestly, tugged at the heartstrings, brought me right back to childhood. That was one of my top 5 most watched movies back in the day. Like that was, I would recommend that to anyone. It's a little bit more musically than I expected, but it made up for it. Timothy Chalamet was a pretty good Wonka. Honestly, I'm pumped for if they do a sequel in that. I saw Iron Claw recently as well.
Oh man,
one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I've heard.
As wrestling goes, but man, Zac Efron was amazing. I can't believe that this isn't getting more attention as like nominations as recently I found out it didn't get any.
I think it's got to be too early for that to get
Yeah, so it's just
a nomination.
It's
it
for
just
whatever
came
ones that
out
were
like
just
a couple weeks ago
the other day. But yeah,
okay.
I agree. It was depressing as hell. But damn, it was a good. It was.
Yeah, I hear
good movie.
real good things about that.
And then also The Beekeeper. This one.
Oh no,
Jason Statham. I'm all here for Jason Statham now. I'm not. I wasn't all in for his movies in the past. Like I would not maybe catch him on DVD, but. I'm here for the theaters now.
Man, the Transporter.
I'm
classic.
here for the theaters now, man. He is F scammers. That's all I have to say. That's what the premise of the movie was. If you haven't seen the trailers, is that someone that he loves or someone that he cares for gets scammed, and bad things happen, and he gets revenge. We'll just call it that.
Wow. I mean, a lot of rapid fire. Well done. I mean, what do you get? What do you rate Beekeeper?
Beekeeper. Oh shoot, let me go. I got a spreadsheet this year. I'm staying organized, baby.
All right, we'll come back to you, Scotty. What are you watching?
Just a couple of weeks ago, it's a yearly thing, at least once a year. El Monstero.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What a show,
man,
Yes.
so good.
Wonder if they're on Spotify.
Those guys, yeah, I don't know about that.
I guess you just got to get into Pink Floyd. We could play
Yeah.
Pink Floyd, El
Yeah.
Monstero.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it seems like a local thing, but they're huge.
Yes. Oh man,
You loved it.
I loved it every year.
Christmas time, they do a week-long
Christmas,
show.
10 shows maybe.
That's a lot.
I think they're up to like 9 or 10.
7, Randy's
7?
saying? Randy's, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, we're asking.
Yeah.
We got Mr. Pageant here.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, we're going to have to try to get more into the pageant with Randy for
All
sure. Like with the behind-the-scenes stuff, we love it. But anyway,
For
El Monstero, good one.
for the first time, I was down on the floor. Usually I get seats down there the whole time, and I think this is the first time the stage rose up. Like
We've done that in the past.
I don't know that I've ever seen them do that.
Yeah, we've done that in the past.
I mean, it's such a production. You've been part of this, Randy,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean,
that kind of led into Cycle Showcase in a weird way.
please make
Yes.
the connection.
In 2000, they did the first show at the Pageant, and they came in about 3:34 in the afternoon and loaded in a day of show. And about 6:30, we'd sound checked them, and about 6:30, somebody was trying to wheel a trampoline in the side door. And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "What are you doing? You can't. What are you bringing a trampoline?" They go, I don't know if you're familiar with the Pink Floyd stage set, but there was this round circle that had a white scrim on it, and they used to shine light on it, and it create these patterns, and it's kind of psychedelic stuff before all the video took place. This was in the mid-'90s, early '90s. And they said, we're going to bring in this trampoline. We're going to stretch a sheet across it, and we're going to shine lights on it. I said, it's 6:30. We're opening doors. You're not bringing in no damn trampoline. And long story short, we did the show. The trampoline didn't go up the first year. We did the show that night, and they sounded great. And after the show, and this was before the tribute thing really got a grip on venues and became a real viable thing. But I said, I went to Kevin, who was the kind of the ringleader at the time, and I said, hey, if you're doing this again, like call me in October, and we'll build a stage, or we'll hang up your trampoline and we'll stretch stuff on it, whatever. I forgot all about it, and come along in October next year, I get the call from Kevin. He said, hey, let's do something special. So we did the trampoline that year, and I kind of became their stage designer, their stage guy, manager, what have you. And every couple of years, I got to be honest with you, I was never a big Pink Floyd fan. So I enjoy the process of doing the shows and putting on the shows, and the music's great. It's but I was never running out to get Dark Side of the Moon or anything like that. I'd heard enough on Keishi.
Had your fill.
I'd had my fill, and I was more of a hard rock guy. That was more my thing. But I was certainly aware of it. You couldn't not be aware of Pink Floyd and their impact. And quite frankly, I was just kind of bored with the show, and I said, "Hey, how about we do like confetti cannons?"
Oh, that was you.
And they fought me.
Oh no!
They said, "No, we're not Van Halen. We're not doing that. So just trust me. We'll make some dollar bills up that look like Pink Floyd money. We'll put them in these cannons, and when you do the song Money, we'll shoot them off. It'll be great." And so I talked to him. We did it that first year, and the crowd. I remember hearing the crowd gasp, and I don't know if they were really under the influence and it really shocked them or what, but it worked. And then as the years progressed, the show kept getting bigger and bigger. And I remember one year Rob Zombie played in like October, and Rob Zombie had this great stage with dancing poles and girls and lots of pyrotechnic. And I was like, "Hey guys,
That's where it came from.
hear me out."
I mean, if you've been to an El Monstero show, like, oh, this is like the best.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
the behind the
I
scenes.
was like, how about we this year? And by this time, the show we had confetti blowers and cannons and all kinds of stuff, lights everywhere and video. And every year we kept making it bigger and bigger. And I said, hear me out. Girls and fire. It sells everything. and we brought on, I made some poles, some dancing poles out of some steel that I had accumulated. And we got a pyrotechnic company, a local pyrotechnic company, and we started doing that. And of course, you can't go back after that. And
Oh,
it's just
every
kept
year.
getting-
It's
And every year.
escalates.
I'll say I'm gonna have to.
escalates
I have a
and
video
escalates.
from the confetti drop in. I guess last year I have to like drop it in and post. And you
I
were just there.
Yeah, I posted one on my TikTok. You could probably
I'll
of
steal
the,
it.
the close
Good.
of the show with the sparks coming down and the
Sparks.
confetti going off and the fire in the background and
Right.
Well, this
Yeah.
is amazing, and this is our what you sharing segment. So this is exactly what it's for. I want to get right to any
Okay.
question about the pageant that like you don't get asked all the time, or that like basically just jump to what's the favorite story from the pageant you like to share. I don't know if that's a crazy experience with a band. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a top band that you've met. You know, I kind of want to gravitate to where you are gravitating to right now.
Okay. Top band I've met.
or just a show that you saw.
A
that
show,
you
You know,
man.
I've seen the Foo Fighters, the Green Day. I took my daughter to see Green Day at the pageant. It was her first concert. That was fantastic.
Wow.
23 years now. I've seen a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of shows.
That is a lot. We figured it out the other day. I was walking across the backstage wall during a show, and somebody said, "How many times do you think you've walked across this backstage 40-foot span?" And I figured it out, and it's 40 foot. And I said, if I conservatively walked 4 times across the stage a night, and we do 165 shows, and it's been about 165 shows a year, and it's been 23 years. We figured it out, and I had walked from here to Columbia, Missouri, across the back of the stage.
Like a couple 100 miles. Like
Yes, it's like 110 miles or 100 something
yeah,
like that.
120 miles,
something like that. Yeah,
just
it was,
a lifetime of music.
yeah.
Hopefully, I'm sure it's like, it's your job too. So you get 24 years. You've seen it all. You've seen when the headaches are happening, but when things are going smooth.
I can spot them from pretty far away now when it's gonna be a problem.
Well, I mean, you got shows almost every day, like multiple days a week at least.
We do 165 a year, so.
And you're doing that many. How often? I mean, you're working the whole year ahead. I mean, you essentially where you're counting down. Like, I'm talking to a band that's coming months before they come in, so that you don't have a El Monstero production situation where people are dragging in trampolines at the last minute.
No, we start working usually about 3 months out on each shows.
Very cool.
To start working on production and sorting that out, what the band needs, what they require to put on their show that they want to provide for the audience. So we're about 3 months out for advancing shows, stuff like that. So.
All right. Well, I could talk about the pageant all night. I think it's time to get into the meat. You ready to talk about some motorcycles and some art?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
You've heard others, but nothing could prepare you for the shameful stupidity that is the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Hear Imran,
So if you offend everyone at once, it's a wash. I've covered everybody.
Anthony,
Sorry, I was texting. Say that again.
and Rug Boy
Yeah, whenever there's a snowstorm, my slack hole tightens up.
as they talk over one another.
Just exactly
John
the same
Connor
as,
was the
as
fucking Terminator.
We're talking over each other. It's fine.
Sorry.
Swear
I had boobies.
and ask you for money.
Just give us the money.
Witness the hubris as they claim to be the world's authority on comic book movies.
Who said?
Never said that. You've never said that.
Who cares? A jock said that.
Comic book, TV, movie reviews, news, and whatever they choose. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts. The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
It can't be silly, goofy fun.
Seriously, people really listen to this.
Jock and Nerd.
The meat.
Well, the Cycle Showcase STL takes over the MOTO Museum February 10th and 11th, 2024. St. Louis, Missouri. We have St. Louis Showcase STL is thrilled to announce a new venue to celebrate over a decade of art and inspiration with a 2-day event featuring rare and custom bikes from all over the world. Everyone from racers and long distance to touring riders to historical restoration buffs, hand-built motorcycle designers, and motorcycle-inspired artists will be represented. The all-ages event takes place Saturday, February 10th from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Sunday, February 11th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the MOTO Museum, located at 3408 Locust Street in Midtown St. Louis. Cost to attend? The showcase is $12.50 for adults, gives you a wristband for both days. Children ages 12 and under are free with a paid adult, and tickets are only sold at the door. Is that still right?
That's still right.
There you go. So,
With the exception of kids 15 and under are free, not just 12 and under. We'll
Oh,
go up to
nice.
15. If
15
you don't
under, this is good.
if you don't have a driver's license, you come in for free.
There you go. You're getting in for free. It's a Saturday and
With
Sunday.
an adult.
And you have a lot of things going on at this event. I've heard about multiple aspects. First of all, you have motorcycle pieces and art from all over, as we read in the release. And you also started doing reveals, I think, that became kind of popular.
It's become quite the thing.
What's going on this year? Give us a little bit of a tidbit. Talk about, again, this is year 13 for you.
Yeah.
How's this year feel? It's obviously a little bit different being at the MOTO Museum, where before you mentioned it was at the Pageant, and I also know at the City Foundry.
It's been this is the 5th venue I think that I've been in over the years. I've done it at the Pageant a few times, but this is one that I'm really excited about. I've wanted to be in the City Museum for a number of years, but it was never big enough. And during COVID, the dealership moved. There's a Ducati dealership there. They've moved to the other end of the complex of the building, and opened up a lot more floor space. They've expanded the museum. The museum is now huge, and we've got enough floor space to put on the show that I'm accustomed to creating.
Which involves, you talk about the space and the numbers. The showcase event will feature 50-plus historically significant handcrafted works of two-wheeled art. Museums and private collections from across the country will come together to display a wide range of motorcycles with an emphasis on the beauty in both design and engineering. 50-plus bikes.
Yes.
I mean, and is it all bikes, or do you end up having some different kinds of pieces in there?
Well, there's some bikes, two-wheel bikes. There's some three-wheeled machines. We'll say that. I've got some surprises. There's nothing with four wheels there. I was a bike builder for years, and before I got into doing the show, and I realized that there wasn't a show in St. Louis that really captured what I was kind of feeling, what some of my friends were. We would go to vintage bike night one night, then we would go to the European bike night one night, and then the next night we'd go to the Dirty Chopper bar downtown, and we hang out with the chopper guys, and it seemed like everybody kind of gravitated to everything. There was no, I like this and that sucks or whatever. There was none of that. So I said, why don't I do a show like this? And I thought St. Louis is so geographically centrally located that it's like, why doesn't St. Louis have a really cool bike show like Chicago has or some of the other towns? So I started doing it, like I said, the first time in 2013. And that was it. Diversity is what I was trying to celebrate. European bikes, Japanese bikes, racing bikes, vintage restorations, a lot of custom stuff because I love custom bikes too. And the audience really seems to gravitate towards those pieces as well. But on top of all the bikes, then I started including artists who were kind of in the moto realm, if you will. Artists, and then that led to craftspeople who are doing things like leather makers or leathersmiths, I should say, metal workers who might do motorcycle parts or jewelry or both. Or I've had a lady that does pottery, and she uses motorcycle parts to imprint upon the pottery and make patterns and designs, and it's pretty cool. So
amazing.
As long as it's kind of in the moto realm, I try to include it. Art, it's all art to me. So I took great inspiration from a show that was in New York at the Guggenheim called the Art of the Motorcycle, and that was in the late '90s, '98, I believe it was. And I never got to see it, but I've seen the book and I've seen some pictures of it. And I said, man, if I was ever to do a show, that's kind of what I would copy.
And what's the name of that show again?
That was the Art of the Motorcycle.
There you go. That's your inspiration.
Yes.
I assume they're still doing their show.
They're not.
They're not.
It was a 1 year.
It's
thing.
a 1 year. Oh wow! So
They
you're lucky you got to see it.
I didn't.
Or
get to see it.
that you got to know about it.
I got to know about it, and there's a coffee table book that I've looked at voraciously.
Found like a real gem.
Yeah, and it was at the time. This was like the late '90s, and this happened in New York at the Guggenheim, and it broke all attendance records. And the art purists, there was this big hullabaloo. The art purists are like, what are these dirty, greasy motorcycles doing in art gallery? And then there's the other side that's like, this encapsulates every piece of art. This is sculpture. This is painting. This is design. This is all the things that you kind of look for in an art gallery, I guess. So that was the inspiration for doing it, and that's kind of what I copied. Or I wouldn't say I copied it, but that was I'd say that's the inspiration for it.
Yeah, had an idea and you ran with it.
Yeah, I've said I never.
And you filled a void that in the city.
Yeah, I mean, if you look around St. Louis, there's like 8 cities of 1 million people within a 6-7 hour drive of here.
Mm-hmm.
Indianapolis and Chicago and Milwaukee and Kansas City and
Memphis,
and
Nashville,
and,
Kansas City, yeah.
And you go around
Oklahoma,
and it's like,
there's all kinds of them.
Why don't we have something really cool and huge here that we can attract people from all over the country?
Well, kudos to you, and I want to make sure that we get this detail in there too, and then we'll kind of nerd out about what people can expect about the experience.
Sure.
You have the Smooches for Pooches doggy kissing booth is back.
Right.
Pucker up for the pups and help raise money for Dirk's Fun, a non-profit large breed dog rescue facility located in Pacific, Missouri. Tell us about this.
Okay, this came about. One of my coworkers at the Pageant works for Dirk's Fun as a volunteer there, and they're a large breed thing, and I wanted to include her and include some kind of charity in this. And there's all kinds of charities you could go down the rabbit hole with, but who doesn't love puppies? So we said, let's do a kissing booth for puppies. And what I really like about it, aside from bringing awareness to the charity and helping support that, is that it sets the tone for the show. When you tell somebody, we're going to go see this motorcycle show, and you walk in and the first thing you see is a kissing booth with puppies right there, it kind of sets the tone for the day of what kind of show. This isn't like any other motorcycle show you've ever been to. This is a very casual, inviting, warm, I going to say educational, but inspiring environment.
Yeah, I've heard you talk. That's really great about, we'll give it up for the smooches for pooches. I mean, absolutely, and it's for charity. Love it. You've talked a lot about. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was
Please.
just going to throw in there. We're adding a second dog charity, the Great Pyrenees Rescue here, since I guess some of the dogs are getting worn out and spending 8 hours there getting kissed, as awful as that would be. So we're going to split the day up, and Dirk's Fun is going to do half the day and on Saturday, and the Great Pyrenees is going to do half the day. The rest of the day on Saturday, and then Sunday we'll split it up too. So there'll be two great dog charities there.
Nice.
Oh gosh, you're
Sharing
really
the bill.
tapping into the dog charity. Like you're gonna have musical chairs eventually next year.
If that's fine. As long as it keeps progressing like this, that's fine.
Very cool. All right, you've talked about the experience that this is unlike any show that you've been to, and I think your production experience has led to what it means to enter a venue or a place for a specific set of time, and what it means to create that experience. Help us out. We're walking in the door, and we're going to be there. What are people going to feel like? What is this?
Well, I've been doing sound and lighting for a long time. So that was one of the first things I gravitate towards is setting the mood, setting the environment. So we've got the place. I fill it up with lighting, and each of the bikes are well lit, like a gallery, as you would in an art gallery. But there's also a lot of lighting that just creates a mood and creates an atmosphere. And about every 10 minutes or so, we'll change the whole color of the room or the vibe of the room or something like that, and change all the spotlights around, and they'll all move around. It's a lot of fun. Builders dig it. Nobody else is doing it that I'm aware of. And it just it changes the mood and the vibe in the room. And of course, I've got music playing, a great playlist. Can't go without music. And it's just a fun place to hang out, to just soak up eye candy and be inspired.
Hell yeah, man. You got me like chomping at the bit now. Like this is my kind of stuff. Like weird, fun, beautiful art, and something that's like niche, but now becomes, let's get into it. Our motorcycle experience is little to none.
Yes.
Us texting today was like hilarious. I was just going to show you our text messages. Like literally, like this is Andy. His big experience.
That's Captain America's motorcycle.
That's Captain America's motorcycle.
Chris Evans' butt was on that, right where mine was.
This is Scott and
that was a motorcycle my dad had. That was
Dad had a sporty.
Yeah.
All right, and then we got this is Andy's bike at home. This is a Peloton.
It's an electric.
He's been rewatching Marvel movies while he rides it.
That's an expensive hog, that one.
That is, you are right.
Yes.
We got this is my dad. Another he's a rider, part of the Patriot Guard.
Yeah,
Patriot Guard.
I do.
You maybe get some of them at your show.
I hope so.
This is me in a sidecar with a friend of mine. This is like 10 years ago.
Kind of looks like the Batmobile.
That's
a little bit. Kind of.
That's a rush in your Rawls.
I did ride. Who's this?
That's my dad's.
Oh, I didn't see this one.
That you can tell by the bald head on the left.
That looks good.
Polishing chrome.
I've never seen him ride it.
Oh, here we go.
I don't think he.
I got my
actually rides
motorcycle license on this 150cc moped.
Yes.
What do you
Right.
think?
It looks like it's
250.
Yeah,
It is 250.
Don't sell yourself
credit.
short,
That's
man.
right.
I forgot how fast it was.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Speaking of
thanks
wild
for-
hogs.
Thanks for that. And can't forget about the 50cc either. I had this guy I rode this to college for 2 years.
Yeah.
So there you go. So like that's the experience you're dealing with, but
That's perfect.
It sounds like it's for everybody.
It is, and
It's
that's-
really for everybody.
It absolutely is. And each bike sits on a riser or a platform, like a little stage. And underneath each bike, I put a piece of paper down. And I have an artist come in with really nice handwriting, like an architect's handwriting, how they have that great handwriting. And she writes on the paper what makes each bike special, what makes it unique, why it was included in the show, where it's from, the details about the bike. So anybody can walk in and not feel alienated. Anybody can walk in and feel comfortable and not feel dumb, or I don't know what I'm seeing, or I don't know what I'm looking at. You may not get the whole story, but we'll give you a good grip of why it was included in the show and what makes it special and what makes it unique. And people really love the comfort of that.
That's amazing because anybody can be there. the non-biker, I'm telling you what your brain goes to is like my brain goes to I picture myself walking into a biker bar and then the music stops and
the record
and
scratch,
it's
yeah.
like the Sons of Anarchy,
Right, right.
Hell's Angels, and,
Right.
and they look and I'm like, oh no, they know.
They'll all be there. They'll all be there. Don't worry.
That's cool.
And they might even bring their grandmother to this.
Oh,
nice. Because it is that kind of show.
All right. Obviously, all right. So we're sending some people there. Jen and David, congrats again for going. Do you have enough tickets where we could maybe give away 2 more to someone that's listening to this?
I think we could do that.
You think might be able, if we get like a winner, we got some submissions.
Yeah.
If you want to go to this and you're like, man, I'm February 10th and 11th, I could make this happen. Go ahead and enter at mostlysuperheroes.com. Just send us a note, reference this episode. We might be able to hook you up. And you also have surprises in store for this year. Obviously, they're surprises for a reason. Can you give us teases? Can you tease out something without spoiling? Because I hate spoilers, by the way.
Surprises. Well, I tell you what. Speaking of surprises, this is kind of we call these unveilings. In 2022, I started doing unveilings, and like I said, I'd built bikes before, and I'd spent 6 months of my life and thousands of dollars building this motorcycle to enter it into a show I was invited to in X city somewhere halfway across the country. And I'd spent, all this money and all this time, and I hadn't slept for the week prior to the show because I was trying to get it finished. And then I loaded it up in the truck and prayed that it didn't fall over on the way there, what have you. And then pushed into the show all excited and exhausted, and the show promoter's like, just put it in the corner over there. That'll be great. And it was so anticlimactic. I was like, okay. And I was like, if I had a show, I'd do it differently. So I was like, wait, I do have a show. I do have a show. So in 2022, I started doing this, and we bring all the bikes in, we put them on the risers, and then the ones that have not been seen before in public, we're calling them unveilings, we cover them with a sheet. Simple. The show opens Saturday at 11, and about 11:30, I'll start going around the room and with a microphone, and I'll talk about, hey, everybody, meet Bob Smith. Bob created this bike here, and we're going to unveil and tell us a little bit about it. And Bob will say, well, this was my grandfather's bike, and he had this new when he was a kid, and I spent 7 years restoring it. Every last nut and bolt is from 1934, and something like this. Something like
I'm intrigued by this hypothetical story.
And so, we'll get a little backstory on the bike, and then I say, everybody give me a little drum roll, and they pat on their chest or something like that. And, and all the lights in the room, they come because they're on them. Because it's what I do. We bring all the lights down on this, and we pull the sheet off of it, and the crowd cheers, and it's fantastic. And builders are like, yes, this feels great. This feels worth it.
That's the moment.
Yeah,
that's the payoff for the creator. It's the payoff for the audience member.
You don't have to wait for people to wander by.
Right.
He's like, hey, all eyes right here.
All eyes right here. And last year we had a couple of builders that did bikes that were building bikes for customers, and they managed to keep the bike hidden from them for the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, or 3 months, what have you, of the build. And they had the customer come to the show, and I had this 60-plus-year-old gentleman come up on stage with the builder and myself, and we talked a little bit about it. We pulled the sheet off, and he cried. And it was like, wow, that's
what it's about.
That's fantastic.
You created that moment for that, that's huge.
Right. And it's, we started doing it in 2022, and we did 8 unveilings that year. 2023, I had 21 unveilings. Right now, of the 50 bikes, I've got 34 unveilings.
Damn.
Coming out. So this is really, really taking off.
All right, yeah, we've talked. I mean, if you're not sold, like, what are you listening to? This is gonna be so great. What has kept people coming back? Go ahead, take your drink too. Take your drink. Cheers,
Cheers,
guys.
Thanks,
Yes,
Four Hands.
Thank you, Four Hands.
Yes.
Good times brought to you by Four Hands, as per usual. I mean, unofficially.
Yeah,
Kevin, let's talk. Yeah, like I like to hear you've been doing this and you're looking forward to it. It's a new venue, but those special things. Like what is it that keeps people coming back? Any pro tips for people going?
Well, the unveilings are really, like I said, are really taken off and become really popular. I never repeat the same bike twice. The venue has changed enough over the years that people want to see what's new and what's different. I can't be more excited about this venue. I can keep going back to that. This Moto Museum is the perfect backdrop, and I don't know if I ever want to leave.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can keep doing it in this venue for years to come. But I'm super excited this year to be in this venue. This is the venue. The venue itself is already loaded with 80 motorcycles built into the walls and hanging from the ceiling and everywhere, and it's just eye candy everywhere.
Yeah, talk about the perfect venue.
Yeah, right.
Like the extras are like part of the scenery.
Right.
Like
right.
you're getting 2 in 1 here,
Exactly,
no doubt.
Exactly.
Cycle Showcase STL is .com is where people should go, right?
Yeah,
Is that's
you can go there. I'm real heavy on Instagram.
Yep, and we got your Instagram pulled up here too. You're at cycle.showcase.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
Huge on Instagram. I mean, I really like this is a great photo opportunity. That you can take great video footage. I assume you guys encourage that type of thing.
Absolutely. Bring your cameras, bring your video cameras, yeah.
We need to get you a hashtag going for the day or something. We could do like a hashtag Cycle Showcase. I feel like that does it.
I'm making the phone call in the morning.
There you go. Hashtag Cycle Showcase. If you guys are going or if you're in town that day and you drive by, tag cycle.showcase on Instagram and tag the Moto Museum on Instagram too.
The Moto Museum is the
Thank you.
museum. Yes.
Andy, questions, thoughts?
What do we got? Give me just one little tidbit of a spoiler, or maybe a little pop culture bike that might be there. That maybe one of our listeners might enjoy. Something like similar to like not pop culture, but movies, anything like that. Similar to like the Mad Max that you mentioned a couple years ago.
Mad Max bike. I don't have a movie bike this year.
Well, that's already a tidbit.
Right.
We know what we don't have.
Yeah, we're getting there. Chipping away. Chipping away.
You can mull on it too.
Yeah.
Well, you got Scotty. You got...
what kind of you guys? I'd imagine there's got to be some merch or some stuff for sale. Pieces of art. Can you walk in and be like, you know what? I want that.
Well, aside from the stuff that's for sale, we do have Cycle Showcase merch. Everybody can wear their favorite show on a shirt. But I also include artists and craftspeople who will have stuff for sale there too.
That's great.
So it's not just about the showcases. We try to promote all of the arts and I can't invite everybody, but I try to find people that are involved in the motorcycle scene or connected to the motorcycle scene or do some moto-centric type of art. So,
I hate to put you on the spot. Can you name any people, any creators?
A guy, Big Dave Canoy. He's from west of St. Louis area. He's a painter. I've been watching his stuff for a while, and he brought some stuff down to the Lake of the Ozarks last year. And it just blew my mind, and I was like, "You got to come back to St. Louis, and you got to do it in the big town and the big show." And he's coming this year. I've got a guy out of Florida, Jerry. I think it's 816. I forget what his handle is, but he sent out like 20 sissy bars, just bare metal sissy bars to 20 different artists, and said, "Create whatever you want, and send it back to me." And they did, and now he's got this collection of sissy bar art. We did this again. We did this a couple years ago, and it was really popular. So I said, let's do this again whenever you get a new batch. And he's done this again. He's had another batch of sissy bars. This won't be the same ones that you saw before. It's just kind of different people's take on the medium that they have to work with. So that's kind of interesting. Let's see, Richie Phillips is a local guy. He's a leathersmith, and he's been building motorcycle seats for the top premier penultimate bikes, show bikes, restoration stuff. His work is unmatched. It's just so unbelievable. He's going to be there with his leather booth, and he'll be hand tooling some stuff, he doesn't only just do motorcycle stuff. He does coats and gloves and belts and whatever. If it's made of leather, he does it. let's see. I've got a young lady who was on Forged in Fire.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she was
Nice.
All right.
She makes knives and
This
things.
is a small world. I had a friend on Forged in Fire, and he won.
Oh,
Wow.
His name's John Wigger.
I did not know that.
She didn't win.
But she was on the show, and her
Yeah.
name,
It just blanked out on me.
that's okay. She was on
Kim
Forged.
Stahl.
Kim Stahl was
Yes.
on Forged in
Yeah.
Fire. She's gonna have her knives.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real deal show.
Yeah.
You're on that show. You're making stuff.
Right. So,
All right, Randy.
you know.
Cycle Showcase.
There's all kinds of stuff, and
Everything.
And the bikes. If you got a wallet big enough, you can maybe leave with a bike.
How's like in terms like really like
Yeah,
you buy
I mean-
buy a bike?
I mean,
Things for, there's
we're all reasonable humans. If you got enough money, you throw it on the table. At some point, you got to say yes. You
There you-
keep throwing money out there.
right. I mean, who knows? You say nothing's for sale until it's for sale.
Nothing's for sale until it's for sale. That's right. Really excited this year that the one of the participants, one of the 50 bike builders coming in this year, is a guy named Ko Sakaguchi, and he was crowned the King of Sturgis this last year with his incredible bike build that he brought over from Japan. And as you can imagine, he took this bike around to all the shows that happened throughout the week, the Sturgis week and the Sturgis Bike Rally, and he won Best of Show in practically every show, if not every show. I don't know the exact number, but at the end of the week, they gather all the bike builders from all the shows that had won all the shows, all together on one stage on the Broken Chip or the Buffalo Chip stage, and they crown a King of Sturgis. And there's these big, burly, hairy biker guys up there, and then this diminutive Japanese fellow is awarded the crown, and it was so cool.
Nice.
But his work is just unbelievable. It's there's a different work culture in Japan, and it shows in his bikes. And I'm very fortunate this year to bring the very first Japanese contributor to the bike show, the bike portion, and a Japanese artist is coming over from Japan. From Japan, and displaying his motorcycle art. He paints helmets and gas tanks, and they're not for sale. They don't go on bikes. It just happens to be the medium that he paints on or creates on. It's sculpture, it's paint, and he does all kinds of wild things. Since I announced that he was coming, my Instagram feed is blown up with American painters and artists that are like, "Is he really coming? Is he really going to be there?" Unbelievable. So super excited to have both of these guys. It just so happened they both happen to be from Japan, and they didn't even know each other, but they're both coming over this year for the show. So
Well, kudos
that's-
on you on that reach
amazing.
and that level of commitment and level of talent coming to your show.
it's amazing. I'm blessed.
Tell us about the hotel situation if people are coming to town.
Okay. Today is Wednesday. They have until Friday to get the special cycle showcase rate. If you call the Angad Hotel, I don't have the address. Hopefully we can throw it up somewhere on the site here. The Angad Hotel. The Angad Hotel is only a block away from the MOTO Museum, so it's super close. But today is Wednesday. If you call them by Friday and mention, you have to call them during business hours and mention Cycle Showcase, you get a special Cycle Showcase rate on the rooms.
Yeah, they're Angad Arts Hotel. They're at 3550 Samuel Shepherd Drive in St. Louis. Does that sound right?
That is right.
And they're at 314-561-0033. I don't know if we'll get this out in time to get the Cycle Showcase discount. I would say if you're hearing this message and you're calling to book your hotel, the Angad Arts Hotel is where the majority of people from this event would be staying. So even if you don't get the discount, you should try to book it. And I would say, with this being St. Louis, mention it anyway. And
give it a shot.
Give it a shot. Because if they're underbooked, they might still help you out. So Angad Arts Hotel, an amazing, beautiful hotel.
You've been
which
in
is a
there.
perfect. Yes, I've been there through some events with the local ad club that I worked with for a few years, and this is a perfect pairing with your event because
Absolutely.
it's super artsy and very cool and very. And it's like a boutique feeling.
It is.
And I feel like that's kind of where you're at.
Absolutely.
Kudos on that partnership.
Yes, that's great. They've been our host hotel for a few years. I'm tickled to bring outside or out of towners in and to share that hotel with them.
Well, and I have to ask, plug your sponsors for your event.
Okay. Well, we'd like to thank Ducati. We'd like to thank, of course, the MOTO Museum for helping out and putting this on. Schmidt Law Firm is come on in the last couple of years as a really big sponsor and really helping out. And the lawyer at Schmidt, Ben Schmidt himself, is a motorcycle racer. They do personal injury stuff, and they deal with motor vehicle accidents, a lot of that. So if you're a motorcycle rider, even if you're not a motorcycle rider, if you're involved in an accident or something like that, look up Ben Schmidt, Schmidt Law. Of course, Four Hands has been with us since day one. Ackerman Toyota's come on this year. They're supporting. They believe in what we're doing. Let's see. There's Trader Bob's Tattoo. There's Easy Street Tattoo, and there's All-Star Tattoo. All three of those are kind of owned by the same entity, and they've been a supporter since day one as well. Trader Bob's, and then they opened All-Star, and then just opened Easy Street. All three of those are coming on as sponsors. We have to mention all three of them, although they're under one umbrella. Let's see, Mid-USA Motorcycle Parts, Open Road Magazine, Cycle Source Magazine. Who else do we got? Northwestern Mutual Financial Advisors. They come on. They believe in what we're doing here locally. So I'm blessed to have support of the community and the people around me here.
Yeah.
That believe in what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, kudos on all those relationships and those sponsorships, and an extra special thank you, not just for it's great for you to put this on with them, but for the people that get to attend. You've kept the tickets affordable, accessible, and it makes it easy for you to go. So definitely big thanks.
I'd love to make it free someday. We're working on that.
Yes, that's always
someday.
Like we had our first big event last year that we want to do every year, and it was ticketed, and its ultimate goal is free. Like free. I just want people to show up. So good for you. That's great. People
appreciate that.
Yeah, we applaud you.
Thank you.
All right, well, this is February 10th and 11th. It's a Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's 11 to 7, Sunday's 11 to 4. It's in St. Louis, the MOTO Museum.
Right.
Tickets are $12.50.
$10 cash.
$10 cash at the door.
At the door.
You're coming to the door with cash is what you want. But you take anything else?
Yeah, we take a card, but there's a little extra charge for the card for the transaction stuff.
Well, applaud you on the event.
It's still cheaper than a Big Mac Happy Meal.
That's what I'm getting at. This is an affordable event. This is happening in your neighborhood.
Right.
February is that's the weekend of the Super Bowl, right?
What's that?
Some would say the biggest event of the weekend, but I disagree.
Yeah, right. Especially locally, like if you're definitely not worried about the Super Bowl, you got to be at the Cycle Showcase.
That's the reason.
Well, I mean,
and you still got Saturday.
Yeah, Sunday at
It's
4. It's done before the.
Oh yeah, you
Super
can do
Bowl.
both. You do both.
Yeah.
If you could, I suppose. That's why I do it this weekend.
Yeah.
Especially in St. Louis is a big,
Yeah, people are out.
Especially post Rams.
There you go.
People like need something to do so they don't get too upset. This is it.
You cranky.
Yeah, right.
That's all right.
You sound like you're maybe like us.
We got the battle.
I'm a caca.
Oh yeah.
we got the
yeah,
Battlehawks.
we're
Yeah.
good.
Good.
Battlehawks,
Baby.
we got them.
Yeah.
These guys are big footballers.
It's coming up.
Big
It's coming
footballers here.
I love football. I was just so disenchanted with what happened with
Oh,
what went
yeah.
down with the NFL and Crockett.
Real bad.
Well, let's end
that's-
on that note. No, let's move into our last section we call Coming Up. Randy, thanks so much for coming to the studio.
It's a pleasure.
Hope it's been easy and fun,
Absolutely.
talking about stuff you like to do. We talked about the showcase, and we'll be plugging that big time. Some of us from the show will see you there. We're so excited. And that's where we kind of do, like, plugs for everything else, too. Like, anything else you got going on that's fun. This is kind of the miscellaneous hour of things in the future you're looking forward to. Anything you want to plug that is pageant-related, cycle-related, Randy-related.
Let's see. After this, I'm going to sleep.
Yes, this is your big event.
This is the big one.
You're in it right now.
I'm working on a couple of cycle showcases that are out of town in the summer. Maybe we'll talk about that in the spring or something like that when it all solidifies.
Coming together, other places.
Yes, I did one in North Carolina the last couple of years, and it was kind of cycle showcase light. It wasn't the full-on production like I do here. And then this last fall, down in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, They have Bike Fest down there, and I did a small version of Cycle Showcase down there, kind of an abbreviated version of it down there. But we got some big stuff coming up in 2024. 24. Yeah, that's what year this is. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, very cool.
We got some big stuff coming up this year that has been in the works for quite a while, and yeah, I'm excited about that. But after Cycle Showcase, I'm going to sleep until let me back up. The end of February, Celebration Day at the Pageant.
I went to that last year too.
Yes.
Oh, first time. It was great.
Celebration Day at the Pageant.
So good.
Celebration Day.
When's this? I can actually pull it up.
This is, I believe is it February, around the end of February, something like that. Celebration Day is a couple of members from El Monstero. And
Yeah, here we go. A tribute to Led Zeppelin.
yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Saturday, February 24th, 1 month from today.
There you go. Okay.
All right, that's great. And I mean, I didn't know, like, it's almost like since you work at the pageant, it's like I don't want to ask you about work, but I'm like,
No, that's all
what
right.
else has happened at the pageant? Like, what
Right.
else can you tell us about? I mean, we could look right at their calendar.
That is so much fun.
Dude, you work at one of the coolest places in town.
Yeah.
Well,
A-
yeah.
Anything that those guys are involved in, I'm down. Last year I went to the Hard Promises as
Yeah.
well. Another Jimmy Griffin.
Another group-
Like,
Jimmy
man.
Griffin. That's a guy you gotta have
Yeah,
on.
we need to get Jimmy Griffin in
Well,
here.
Jimmy Griffin was the guitar player in the very first band I went on tour with,
Oh, nice.
King of the Hill, with Frankie.
Oh, nice.
Man, Jimmy is he's just so great.
He's a monster.
Like he just does it all.
Right.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this is we're in January of 2024, and we said in our episode with Steve Ewing toward the end of 2023 that we want to help people know when music's happening. Like,
Sure.
this is what we're here to do. I mean, We the Kings is coming January 27th. Tim Dillon, February 2nd. Railroad Earth, February 2nd. Bad Fish on the 3rd. Treaty Oak Revival on February 3rd. Just to name a few, Magic City Hippies.
Red
on
Hot
the
Chili Peppers. I love it.
Oh, is that a tribute band or
Yeah.
something? Red
Yeah.
Knot Chili Peppers
Knot
on
Chili.
February 8th.
That's at Del Mar Hall. This is a pageant and Del Mar Hall.
And then here's your 2024 Cycle Showcase St. Louis Meet and Greet,
Yes.
the Builders Pre-Party at Del Mar Hall on February 9th.
Yep.
And is that anybody can go?
Anybody can go. Open to the public. Well, if you're over 21.
Free to go?
Free to go. Yeah.
You're just hanging out. Buy your drinks at the bar, hang out.
Get your forehands at the bar, hang out, meet some really cool people. I got a local one-man band called Big in Japan.
Oh, wow.
That's gonna it'll keep the mood light.
Guys,
And,
that's a free show for you
Yeah.
on February 9th. If nothing else, go to this free show.
we're gonna unveil a can, and it's just gonna be a party. I get all these guys come in from out of town, and they're like, "What do we do on Friday night after we're done setting up?" And I was like, "All right, well, let's just do a little party." And I know the people at Del Mar Hall. They say, "Yeah, we're open." Okay, so there we go.
You're right.
Good for you guys. Keep that a tradition. That's great.
Yeah, we try to.
I think I'm going to stop by that one.
You should.
Yeah, I see all of us looking over.
Yeah.
Eyes perk up on music and drinks and good times. All right, let's do final thoughts and round table. Anything else for Randy or anything else? Let's start with you, Scotty Scoop.
Man, this was great. I'm genuinely excited to go see this.
Yeah,
I don't know
Are you
a lot.
going?
I'm going to go.
You're going.
Yeah,
Wow, all
for
right.
sure.
He's decided.
Yeah.
Hey, we're there. We're there.
Hey.
Cycle Showcase St. Louis Mostly Superheroes 2024.
I don't know a lot about motorcycles,
You
but
don't have to.
I do love artwork. I've been to a few motorcycle shows.
Scotty's turning into our field correspondent. We send him to all the events.
Yeah. Just a funny story. I went to one with Ben in 2006 or 7 at a place in Kansas City. And the day before, we were there for work. The day before, I shaved my beard into like a handlebar mustache. And Ben is the motorcycle rider. I don't know anything, never ridden a motorcycle. And I can't tell you how many people, when I was walking around, just asked me, "Hey, what kind of bike you got, man?" Chrysler Seabreeze.
Just say a hog.
Yeah,
Just,
like a real hog.
Yeah, what can you get away with?
right.
there was some scantily clad ladies there taking photos with bikes with people, and I was like, "Hey, let me get a photo." And they were like, "Yeah, get in here, get a photo." And they took my photo, and my friend Ben was like, "Hey, let me get a photo." And they're like, "Yeah, $10."
You don't look anything like a motorcycle rider. That's great.
Man, yeah.
All right, you're going.
Yeah,
You
I'm
and Ben.
going, for sure. Yeah,
You and Ben,
for sure.
sounds like. All right, Giggler.
I'm gonna be out of town. I got bad news.
That's
But
all right.
I hope you guys take some good pics.
I will take some
I
pictures.
would love-
I
I
will
would
take
love
a
to see it.
lot
I'm-
of pictures.
After hearing Randy explain what this event is, I'm 10 times more intrigued than I was before this, which was still a lot.
A non-motorcycle guy,
Yes.
you're like, this is it, and this is
Yeah.
the episode. So now, Randy, you got
Right.
somewhere. You mentioned like you're kind of new to podcasts.
Yep.
Well, you know, you send people to mostlysuperheroes.com. This episode will be up very quickly, and they can learn all about it.
I'm so thankful you didn't make me dress up like a superhero.
Yeah, we like to ask you.
What Julie said, you're going on mostly superheroes. I was like, do I have to dress up?
Don't forget your cape.
Just mostly, don't worry.
Yeah, we usually
have wiggle room.
I usually ask like 2 questions. One of them is, what was your expectation coming on the podcast?
Right.
Did you think it was gonna? You didn't know. It
No.
was mostly
No.
superheroes. Yeah, it's a more. It's not what you think, is what we say for
Right.
sure. It's more. It's kind of like a quadruple entendre at this point. You know,
Okay.
like the stuff that we watch was mostly superheroes, but like we try to be mostly superheroes. The people that we bring in here, you know, you're an inspirational guy. Just to let you know, like we see the work that you're doing. We see the longevity of working at the pageant and 10 years of roading with bands. Like your commitment to the things that you love and where you were drawn to is really cool. What advice would you give to someone out there that's trying to figure their stuff out? You know, if you have 2 minutes to give someone advice, like you don't know if you're going to see them again, and they're like, man, I'm kind of down on my luck. I'm trying to figure out my life. Looks like Randy's kind of doing a good job at the pageant and putting on the cycle showcase. What advice would you give to a person that asked you for it?
Oh Lord, I used to say stay in school, but I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like you have some ancient like wisdom in that brain. I can
Well,
see it. Like you've seen
I'm
some
not-
shit, man.
I've come to the realization that if you really are not totally passionate about it, that it's just going to drive you down in the dirt. And I try to do. I tell people I still don't know what I'm going to do when I grow up, and I'm 56, and I attribute all that to just I've somehow just been passionate enough about everything that I've gotten into that it's driven me into trying to make a career of it. And I've been very fortunate, very lucky that I've been able to do that. But yeah, just follow your passion, man. It's,
yeah, that's it. If you're
otherwise,
not passionate about
if you're
it.
not passionate about it, you're just gonna you dread waking up every morning.
Yeah, and I think you can notice, like, for like you know, when you're dreading something regularly, like it's time to maybe find something you're more passionate about.
Sure.
It's, you know, and Steve Ewing said it when he was here. Kevin Limp said it. You know, just lean in that direction. Like
Sure.
you felt that calling on certain ways, and I mean, you did the scariest thing for which every person goes through is just like kind of taking the plunge and like taking a leap of faith and saying, I'm gonna go try this.
Yeah. Oh, I saw this in a book,
Right.
and I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
Well, I like I was talking about earlier. I was I quit college and I started doing sound in bars for local bands at 18, 19. And my family found out and they freaked out. And they're like, "You quit school?" And it was you're so good at this. And I was like, I really like doing sound. I like doing this. And my grandfather came up at Christmas time and he says, "What's this? I hear you quit college." And I said, "Yeah, Grandpa, I'm doing sound." And he's like, "What the hell is that?"
Doing
He's like, "You're doing sound.
That's what the
How
kids
do
are
you
calling it
do
these
sound?"
days.
And I was like, "Well, I briefly explained it to him. You know, I kind of adjust the sound and try to make it sound good." And he says, "Can you make a living?" I said, "I'm paying the bills. I'm making $40 a night or something, whatever it was at the time." And can we cuss on this podcast?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
go ahead.
okay. He says, "Your grandmother and your mother and your grandmother are really upset." He goes, "Fuck them." He goes, "I walked the timber for 40 years and I hated every goddamn step of it. If you're happy and you can make a living, you go do that and do it great."
Oh man.
There you go. That's the soundbite right there.
That's the soundbite. That's the trailer for the whole episode.
Yeah.
And then he passed away 3 months later. And I
Oh,
was
I'm
like,
really
way to bring that down.
But he instilled on you a life
instilled on it.
lesson.
He instilled that, and I carry with that all the time. Is if I'm not happy, I'm out of here. You know,
Yeah.
if this doesn't make me happy, you know, there is a point where you have to be responsible and pay bills and
for
things
sure.
like this. But yeah, follow your dreams, follow what makes you happy, and you won't regret getting up every day.
Yeah, I think even with the stuff that you're not passionate about, maybe that is getting you down, requires hard work and management. All right. On the other side of the coin, if you want something that's passionate, I think a lot of people think like, oh, I won't have to work, or it's going to be so easy and fun. Yeah, it will be easy and fun, but the hard work part doesn't go away. You think it's to get 50 plus pieces and artists and people from across the country into one place, that there's hard work, even though you're passionate about it.
It's hard work, but if you're passionate about it, it doesn't bother you.
It's not the same at all, and you don't dread it.
It's not like digging a ditch.
Yeah, you're waking up ready to get into it.
Right.
And do fun podcast interviews like
and
this,
do
hopefully.
fun things like this and hang out with cool dudes and drink 4 hands beer.
Hell yeah. Cheers one more time.
Cheers,
Randy
4 hands.
Noldge, thanks for being
That's a good
here.
night right there.
Scotty Scoop, the Giggler, I'm Logan. Cheers to 4 hands for the beers for sure. We thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mostly Superheroes. From all of us here, we have a lot more coming up in 2024. A lot of remote episodes, some right here in the studio, TV and film, but also going to be talking to Kevin Limp about Voltron some more. We got a booked appointment at Apotheosis Comics on Grand. We're going to be there next month. Month after that, we're going to be at the Royale with Stephen F. Smith off Kings Highway. We got and Steve Ewing and I messaged today. He's coming back on the pod to talk about some music. Randy, would you come back?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
What else are you into? It's music, art, beer. I mean, those are some big categories. We could talk about that kind of stuff with you all day. Anything else we could talk about? Anything else you get into?
See.
That's kind of like what the pod is.
That pretty much eats up most of my days and nights.
Well, we'll have you back to get into it.
We could. I got stories.
All right. We'll see you next time on Mostly Superheroes. Take it easy.